I don't think anybody would ever thought to throw a chatterblade on a spinnerbait. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
So, to see you guys adjusting and the curiosity behind it, and not to be punny, but the addiction, it just lights up in people. That's the thing. We were out there fishing yesterday, Gary, and, we weren't catching much big stuff, but good Lord, I mean, catch a fish this big, we're hollering and we're screaming, you know?
It's always fun.
Yeah, so, I mean.
Another thing, too, is snakehead's a new species, so to speak.
For us.
So there's no background. Bass people have been fishing for bass for 100 years. So lures evolve. They went from wood to plastics, and now there's all kinds of stuff. But with snakeheads, you got to try, and you don't know until you try. So people are a lot more innovative. And you're seeing, it's like you change your hooks, you change your baits, you put blades on different, and you try things. And with bass, you can just go to the store pretty much and buy without having really to experiment much. With snakeheads, you experiment.
What other species? I heard you talk about rockfish, but when you started fishing, what was kind of the first? What was the first fish that got you fired up and going? You remember that?
I was probably 6 years old, and I grew up right here in Dorchester County in Cambridge, and my mother used to take us to the fishing pier. I lived 2 blocks away from the fishing pier, grew up right across the street from Tommy Sporting Goods, and we would go down and catch perch, spot, occasional rockfish, and ever since I was little, I just loved fishing just because you throw a lure in the water, you never know what you're going to catch. It's totally different than hunting. Hunting, you see exactly what you're going to do. But fishing, you just don't know what's down there. I've caught sea robins off of the fishing pier, and I didn't know what they were. And 2 blocks from my house, I'd stick it in a plastic bag and ride my bicycle as fast as I could back to my father and ask him what it was, and he'd tell me, and I'd run it back down and throw it back overboard.
Yeah, they're pretty freaky looking the first one you see.
Exactly.
I remember I used to fish down Long Wharf, which is right, basically right down the street from there, and I can remember fishing with my dad the same way. I saw a guy catch 2 seagulls one night casting his line, and seagulls flew down and grabbed his bait. See somebody reeling a seagull is pretty weird. But yeah, you do. There's all kinds of stuff out there.
So guys, I just want to jump in here real quick. Sorry everybody for the sound issues. It's all fixed up now. We should be good to go.
Good.
Sorry you missed the first part of the live broadcast, but we're working on the fly here. So,
but they can go back and watch the beginning on YouTube if they need to.
Right. They should. Okay. The sound should be working after we're done. After we're done going live, so we're good to go now.
All right. One of the things I was thinking about, when you were just telling your story, like a lot of people asked me about, was it my dad that kind of got me into fishing? And it really actually wasn't. I mean, it was kind of my mom, I remember, as a young man, I think I was like 5 years old in kindergarten. I mean, I can remember that far back, just like you're saying at 6 years old. I remember she came into the room one morning and she asked me, did I want to play hooky from school and run away for the day? That's what she said. So that became our new thing after this first trip. So
my mother never asked me that.
It was our runaway day. I think she just kind of felt bad for me because my dad worked just so much as a steel worker, doubles, triples. He never had time off. He did as much as he could. I'm not taking anything from that. But, so I said, what do you mean run away? And she said, come on, we're going to go do something. And we went to Kmart and we bought a push button fishing pole. I remember that. And we bought a tackle box that had hooks and bobbers that all, then cheapy things. Now you look back and say, what the heck did I ever buy that cheap thing for? But anyway, we got that, and then we stopped at a place called Stonewall Sports in Joppatown, and we got a dozen night crawlers, went to a place called Harford Glen on a pier, like you're saying. Man, we didn't know anything about putting worms on the hook, man. She's like, I'm not touching it. I'm like, I'm not touching it either, you know what I mean? But after we caught the first bluegill, I'll tell you what, I was all over them worms like maggots on a piece of meat. I ain't kidding you, man, so... Yeah, it's pretty cool to think about that. I don't think a lot of people give their mom a lot of credit. Like a lot of guys don't have that story. So I find that pretty cool that you got that too.
Yeah, well, it was like we used to go down to Key Wallace, and this was ever before the snakeheads were ever there. And I remember catching catfish left and right, and we would always throw them back. And there was a older gentleman down there, and was like, "Have you ever tried them? They're good eating." And he told me how to skin it, and they would slide all over the place, so we ended up taking a big nail and nailing it to a 2x4 and skinning them.
That's the ticket.
I tell you, they're great to eat.
I walked to a friend of mine's house one day. I'm not kidding you. I come around the back door, and he had a big oak tree out there. This thing had catfish with no meat on it. I mean, nailed to this tree every direction you could blink. I said to him, I says, "Are you going to take them down?" He goes, "Nah, I leave them hanging there for a couple of days. The coons climb up there, gives them something to eat. Once they eat them, then leave the heads out and take them down." So I thought that was pretty cool too. So baits, let's talk about some baits, Daryl.
Baits, all right. I guess the first thing we could talk about would be the one that I originally started with was the chatterbait. When I first started, we had a smaller blade on it, and it would take a little bit of time to get that to actually run and chatter like it should. So after about 3 or 4 months, we come out with the Thumper series, and the Thumper series has the standard size blade. One thing that sets me apart from everybody else is the lure tape that I use. I use lure tape on the front and the back side of the blade.
Oh, so you're doing both sides of your blades?
Both sides.
Good.
My concept behind that is when you have that lure tracking through the water and a fish keens in on, say if it's a red color decal.
Where's the bait you want him to show?
This one right here.
The white one?
Yep.
So just going to show some baits while you're talking, Daryl.
Yep. If a fish sees that lure coming at you and is keened in on, say, that red foil flashing back and forth, as soon as that bait goes by and he's interested in going after it and he does not see that red flash anymore, that may turn him off of it. So it just takes a little bit extra time, but in my mind, I think it works better than just having it on the front.
Again, I think the depth of the thought process that guys are putting in the baits. This is like, I mean, everybody is just like tweaking this, tweaking that, and everybody's coming up with their own little thing. That's the coolest thing. I think one of the things I liked about it, I've been with you since you've been making the chatterbaits and started making the snakehead lures, and I've got the chance to test a lot of your stuff, and I can tell you that your stuff catches fish. You know that. I think the whole world knows that.
Oh, yes.
So I think the coolest thing I've seen you do is adapt your product as we're quote unquote learning more about the snakeheads, beefing this up, beefing that up, better split ring, better gauge hook. You know what I mean? So I want guys to talk about, what you're saying, what makes you different and why this bait's so good. I think that the consumer out there that's looking to get in the snakehead market is looking for that bait that holds up. It's not so much.
That's the thing.
It's not so much the bait. It's, can it hold up? We know we can hold an 8-pound. We know we can hold a 9-pound. We know we can hold a 10-pound.
All of these lures that we've been using in the past are designed for bass. That's just the bottom line.
Right.
And these snakeheads, I mean, the world record's just under 20 pounds, point blank period.
Well, just look at what pickerel used to do to your bass baits.
Exactly, yeah.
He used to tear the heck out of them.
I mean, the biggest thing that I've watched you change, and the other guys too. I don't want to just keep saying you, but we learned in the beginning that our standard stuff wasn't working. We were losing 15-pound fish left and right, and we couldn't figure out why. But when we got the hook back, it straightened out. So I want as we go through the baits, I want to just kind of talk about what makes that bait different. You know what I mean?
Well, as you know, down here at Blackwater, that white lure with that red blade has been probably one of the best producing baits in the Blackwater area. I don't know what it is about that red, but they seem to love it. So I've had a guy that custom makes shads for me now, the swim baits. If you can see, the swim bait there has a white body with red flake in it.
I like it.
That's
really
become
like
very popular.
Looks awesome.
I've even
Red
went
inside on it.
Yep.
I've even went one step farther and have now about 6 or 8 of my chatterbaits and splatterbaits pretty much color matched swim baits to the skirt itself.
It's beautiful. I mean, I really like it a lot. So the hook. Talk about the hook here.
The hook there, that is a Mustad. I believe it's the 32796. It is their black nickel ultra point, super strong hook. Very beefy, and that's a 5/0.
I mean, I just
3/8
want
ounce.
to try to show the people. I mean, this hook here. I mean, I literally can't even move this hook at all. So I know that's going to be a good bait, and that I believe will hold a 15-pounder. I guess we're going to find out.
Yeah, we'll find out. That's right.
Well, that bait right there is what I caught my 14-3 on.
Nice, very nice.
So there you go, folks. We know to hold a 14-3, so you're good to go. Remember, they're always cheaper by the dozen.
So what else have you got to show us today, Daryl?
Oh, well, if Gary wants to take, he can grab that one right there. That's the voodoo color chatterbait, and like I said, pretty much a color matched swim bait. I don't know of any other companies that have that or stores. I think that's one of the things that's going to really set me apart. So
your snap, what kind of snap we got here?
The snap there, that is a number 4 snap. It's a 40-pound snap. I've never had any issues. I know some other companies are wrapping wire, but I've literally sold thousands of these chatterbaits, and I've never had anybody come back to me and say, hey, your snap's failing.
That's a beautiful color. I really like that a lot.
Yeah, it's pretty.
So, Daryl, how did you get into making baits this way?
For the snakehead stuff?
Yeah, for the snakehead stuff.
I mean, were you doing like chatterbaits for bass fishing and
no,
stuff? And
no, never.
So you just came right out the door and went for the snakehead? Pretty much.
I was doing the rockfish stuff, and after I went fishing with Roland and had the minnows, I'm not, no pun, you guys, I hate using bait.
That's okay.
Always,
Gary does too. That's okay.
Always,
Gary's the same way.
Always got to be moving. I can't just sit. So I started making this chatterbait here. That was the very first lure that I started with for snakeheads, and just constantly casting, trying to figure out what worked best, what didn't work, and came up with that there. And that is probably one of my go-to lures for fishing for snakeheads.
You don't really have a big background in freshwater fishing anyway, do you?
No.
Yeah.
No.
So that's pretty much all I've ever done.
I just started making some freshwater bass stuff. Started making a weedless Ned for bass fishing.
Freshwater brackish, but I mean, you fish mainly for rock fishing, whatever.
I grew up right there on the chop tank.
Yeah.
I before I met my wife, I could probably count on one hand how many times I actually freshwater fished.
I'm the same way. I did hardly any freshwater fishing. I mean, it was strictly rockfish. I mean, if I went fishing, it was for rockfish out in the bay.
That was it.
So, and then the snakeheads come along, and it's changed the whole game for everybody.
Bada bing.
I can't lie. I mean, I just like eating snakeheads more than rockfish. That's just me. So
They're delicious. I do love them. Mm-hmm.
So, I think that's the biggest thing too, is that we're getting a lot of people now starting to really take to it. You know.
Yep. A lot of people are starting to like them, and I think more people will keep asking for them. Like we always tell people, if you like snakeheads and you want to see them in a restaurant, you got to ask for it.
Right.
That's point blank. Period. With the more you ask for it, the more it'll be in the restaurant. So keep asking for it.
Now, since we're talking about the chatterbaits, I have with me today 2 brand new colors that I'm releasing here today. They will be up on my website by the end of the weekend. That one there, I'm calling it the Orange Crush.
Oh, I was just gonna say the same thing, man. I swear to God. I was.
That is a bright orange with a chartreuse, and then a matching swim bait with that as well.
And you got that hard hook on there again too, right?
Same thing. Yep.
Yes. Yep. And then the next one up here, I haven't figured out a name for this one yet.
Cotton candy, baby.
That's not bad. I like cotton candy for that.
That's what I'm saying, dude. That's what I see.
It's a bright pink head with a pink and chartreuse, almost like an electric chicken, and matching swim bait for that. So, and that's the only new colors that I have. I have some that I started making the beginning of the year, like this next one here that Gary can show. That is my swamp thing. I've got a custom made swim bait for that as well, and as you can see, they match my skirts very well.
Yeah, that makes all the difference in the world. I don't think people realize how much. I mean, if you're looking, I mean, there's times when you have a chartreuse skirt with a white tail, and that works well too. Things like that where you mix and match your colors. But if you're matching your colors up, it's gonna change how that fish really reacts to that bait when it swims.
It's more of a natural presentation, period. You know what I mean?
There's not too many fish out there that are 3 or 4 different colors.
Right,
They're
exactly.
Usually all blended, especially froggy looking stuff.
Never seen me in the water, have you?
Don't want to.
Oh man, that's good.
So what else we got there?
Well, let's see. Next thing we can do, I guess, is the splatter bait. Since Caz was talking about that,
everybody loves the splatter bait.
That is the bullfrog color there.
I put my waders on to get one of these back out of a tree yesterday.
I'll tell you, Mr. Timlin's one of the biggest promoters on that thing right there, brother.
You didn't bring any of the Wolford Store exclusive color, did you?
No, I didn't. I figured you could go downstairs and steal that.
I can go get one.
I'm not ready to see that yet, Eddie. Just hold on. Let me figure out how many I want first.
The splatter bait there, I come about that through a friend of mine, Roland Timmons. He seen that out west somewhere. People were using that for bass fishing, so I can't say that I actually designed that myself, but everybody knows that a regular spinnerbait is light wire. So I went the next step. That is 045 musky grade wire.
Wow.
With the chatterbait attached to it, and then I use a unique Dakota style spinner blade on top, and if you notice, that blade is attached with a ball bearing swivel, so everything's high quality.
Got your Starfleet, got your Starfleet Academy blade on there.
And you have to enforce this. If you're paying cheap money for cheap baits, there's a reason. These guys that want to catch fish, I mean, you're going to have to spend a little bit more money than your standard $4.99 spinnerbait for a bass.
I always laugh at people that are crying about paying $7, $8, $10 for a spinnerbait, but they'll pay $100 for an umbrella.
Well, Eddie had a good saying, and I've always liked. What was the steak thing?
Oh, my grandfather said. Yeah. He said there's no such thing as a steak that's too expensive. He said, if somebody says your steak's too expensive, it means it wasn't good enough. So that's point blank period. Yeah,
so if your bait's too expensive, then it must not be good enough.
That's exactly right.
Okay, I like that.
So, so what else we got here, Daryl?
Let's see. Another splatter bait there. That's the crawfish color. Yeah. And as you can see, I have a color matched swim bait body for that as well. I have two different colors of crawfish. That there is the newest color. This one here is what you see in a lot of the stores. It has a little bit of green into it, but that also matches that swim bait as well.
Very nice. Very nice.
Hard to get them both in.
And like you said, the main difference in it, I mean, you got to have that thicker grade wire. If you don't have that thicker grade wire, it's basically, like you said, musky grade.
Yes, I know Tommy Timlin has used that splatter bait consistently, and
he has.
I still believe he is on the same one that he started with the beginning of the year.
The thing I noticed about him, I was using one of these the other day. If you get it hung up somewhere and you bend it, it bends. It doesn't kink.
Yes.
Cheap wire kinks.
That's exactly
and you
right.
can't get it straight. These you can basically just put your finger on and bow them right back in place.
I'll tell you who has a magnificent bait, and I'm not trying to plug somebody else, but that Live Target bait ball.
Oh, my goodness.
When they came out with that, and Chris Leslie had them over in the warehouse, and I started getting them, I can tell you right now, I was literally crushing snakeheads on the thing. But the wire was so thin that after one fish, I could not get it to run right ever again because you had 4 wires there, and they'd all just get so bent up. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, and that splatter bait there, if Gary can point down to the front there where the chatter blade attaches, that wire is pretty much close together. I cannot wrap that due to patents, but if you ever catch a big fish and you use the wire to unhook it and that opens up a little bit, you can always take your needle nose pliers and squeeze it right back down, and that thing will run great again.
Like Gary said, it doesn't kink, it just bends, so you can put it back where it needs to go.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'd show you, but I don't want to bend your lure. But but they do. They just bend right back straight again.
Why don't we take a look at the one you just introduced at the angler seminar the other day? That is a great. I can't wait to fish with
this.
This
is a swing hook football head chatter with a frog. Those frogs, those frogs are made for me. They're similar to a ribbit frog. They're just a smaller, thinner profile. It gives a lot of action in the water. I've got one picture up on my Facebook page of Matt Fletcher caught one the other weekend with it in its mouth. I don't have a whole lot of pictures of those yet successfully working because it is brand new. It's only been out about 2 weeks. I can't keep them in stock. I went through 40 dozen in the last 2 weeks. By Saturday, I should have 1,200 more frogs in.
So, guys, what's Daryl's saying is if you're catching snakeheads with these frogs, you got to send him pictures. Let him know that.
Oh yes, absolutely.
These guys are working.
Absolutely.
And I've got share a anything to Blackwater's Edge too. Yep. Anytime you guys want to, we want you guys to do some of that.
Yep.
You know?
I got a Facebook page. It's Addiction Baits. Click on that, like that, and you can send me pictures that way, and I'll post them up. But that there, I know a lot of guys over on the Western Shore. I believe Donald Hicks is the latest guy that sent me a picture. He caught one on a white, no, that was a white swim bait. He caught a 6.5 pound bass, and that picture, I believe, is up on my Facebook. It's the same style. It just doesn't have the frog. It's actually the swim bait body on the back of it.
Okay. Well, let's show one of them real quick. So I think Gary's got one with the.
I think Gary's got them all high.
Yeah.
You got a mess over here,
there
Gary.
should be some with the football heads over there.
That's football head. There's just a bigger one. That's a inline.
There it is, the chartreuse one right in front of you.
Right here.
Yep.
Oh yeah, that's the one I really liked a lot. Dude, that thing's gonna destroy some fish.
And that's a hoss of a swim bait too.
That right there is something I just started making. It's not on my web page.
Go ahead, Daryl.
That's
so
you
can
5.
kind of see how big it is.
That is a 5-inch. If you want to hold it up against a 4.8,
yeah, show them next to the Kitech.
Yeah.
That right there is a Kitech 4.8 inch, and then that is my custom 5-inch.
That is a hoss.
Bait.
Beautiful.
And
I love that.
Yeah, it's a big fat body on there.
It is.
the hooks on it is a VMC 3X strong EWG hook. They're not going to bend. They're not going anywhere.
About that. Look how thick that
But
is.
the nice thing about the swing heads is that football style head without the chatter, the way the front is shaped, it wants to shake on its own. Then when you add that chatter bait on it, it just gives all kinds of commotion.
Bigger vibration, definitely, I'm sure.
Yes, and then with it being the swing hook, the swim bait body just gives a natural swimming action while the head is constantly shaking and giving all kinds of vibration. So it looks like a natural swimming fish with a bunch of vibration. It's become very popular within the last 3 weeks. I have sold more so of those than I have anything else.
And you have to keep in mind, I mean, snakeheads here especially operate on sound.
Yes.
So the whole chatterbait thing, these spinning blades, any kind of bait you can get that's throwing off some kind of vibration through the water.
That's what makes these things so effective.
Yeah.
They don't see these baits; they feel them. It's all about the motion attracting these fish.
And I think one of the coolest things when you're fishing these baits is you can just watch your rod tip.
Oh yeah.
As you're retrieving, and you can gauge, what's going on down there. If you do it long enough, you know what your bait's doing just by what your rod tip's doing. If you get what I'm saying, And I think that thing right there with the swing on that tail, as big as it is and as wide as it is, the flash that tail's going to throw off as it's swinging in the sun along with the blade. I think that's gonna
the one thing
nail in the coffin right there, bro.
Where's that Kitech at? Throw that Kitech next to it again. The one thing I noticed, look at the difference in the ribs, the depth of the ribs there.
Yeah.
I mean, the amount of action that's going to create to draw that snakehead in is just unreal. The difference
And
it'll
the other
make.
thing too that I'm looking at here is if you look at the width of the width of the simple flat right there. I mean that bait that he's custom pouring. I mean it's almost twice as big as that other tail, so that swing's going to be twice as much as what that Kitech's putting out. So I think you really did a smart thing right there, Daryl.
Absolutely.
Seriously.
And
what bigger body.
What a lot of people, I think, what a lot of people need to realize about snakeheads is they aren't afraid of big baits.
No.
We've tried to tell that to so many people. I mean, we've got, you can cut open a 20-inch snakehead and you cut a 7-inch shad out of its gut like it's nothing. And we've done that frequently.
Yeah, we were cleaning some fish last week.
Yeah, just last weekend.
We took those pictures, and then this week we had cornflower. I mean, that carp was what, 14 inches or 15 inches, something like that.
It was crazy.
So and in all reality, folks, I'm not sure if that was a carp. A lot of people were thinking that it was probably one of them black salties. So I hope that's not a sign.
Yeah,
We're getting a pile of black salties mixing in with the carp now too.
Hope you're wrong on that. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
So
pass me that buzz bait.
Oh yeah, let's show off this.
I love this clacker. I love the size of this thing.
The little clacker.
This is Gary's favorite.
I know.
No, that's my favorite over here. This is my second favorite.
Gary loves a buzzbait.
I love this little clacker on here. That makes all the difference in the world, man. Sounds like a dinner bell ringing.
I wonder if we can make a miniature bell and hang off of that.
It is a miniature
ding,
bell
ding,
right
ding,
there. That's it, man.
Stock market bell.
Yeah,
Right?
people that throw a buzz bait, if it doesn't have that clacker on it, if you throw one without the clacker and then throw one with the clacker, it makes a totally different sound in the water.
It's a whole different presentation.
I don't know if the folks can see that, but I mean, just the tinsel and the reflection that's on these things. I mean, it's
good quality stuff.
Look, I mean, that's what it looks like going through the water. Flashy, flashy, flashy.
That one, this
here's
one
Gary's
here.
favorite.
Yeah, here's my.
I haven't fished with these yet. I can't wait to
favorite. I haven't either, but it's still my favorite.
That is a double inline buzz bait.
It's a triple
with,
inline.
I don't know if I can hold
with
this
a prop.
spinner.
Yeah, that's a
with
triple.
a prop.
You got a spinner. You got another one inside going that way, and then you got this guy in the
Prop
front
on the
doing
front.
this.
Yep.
Man, you talk about some action. My
Looks
God,
like,
that's
looks like you should have to have batteries for all that.
It's solar powered, Gary.
I'm telling you.
If the sun's not out, it won't turn.
No.
I like the gold on it
you
too.
got this little ring-a-dingy thing down here.
Yeah, you got the spring for your swim bait on there. If you want.
Yes, you can put either a swim bait on there, a ribbit frog. I sell them on my website with frogs if you decide to add that to it.
Honestly, I want to make take the hook off, make a necklace out of it, and then hang like a big ruby underneath of it or something. You know?
Yeah, they come in a bunch of different colors. They're pretty cool.
I have 4 colors for that. The inside blade there, as you can see, that one's white. I've got 4 colors. I've got white, I've got red, I've got chartreuse, and I have black.
And all 4 are available over at the store.
That's right.
Absolutely.
That's right. We've been selling them like hotcakes
Oh
here.
my goodness, yeah.
Actually, I'm gonna try the red one tomorrow.
Send us some pictures.
Will do.
What?
Video.
This is the one that had. What was this? Was this the Kitech or was this?
That one.
That's Kitech.
Yeah, that's the Kitech on that one.
Now tell us about this.
This little guy.
That is the Caz's Chatter Clapper.
Caz's Crappy Chatter Clapper.
So this is a Chaz bait.
Say that 3 times fast.
Gary, if you want to grab that other one,
Yep.
too. When we first started doing them, they are both an 1/8 ounce head there. We used them for crappie fishing. If you notice, the unpainted one there has a small number 4 hook inside of it. I've taken and adjusted my mold to fit a 1/0 VMC heavy duty jig hook for snakehead finesse fishing.
You have to move your hand, Gary. The camera's focusing on your finger.
So I had them out there at Aries Road, and I was throwing them for crappie, and I can't lie to you, man. Like there weren't any crappie there that day, but I caught about 30 snakeheads, like 8 to 10 inches. I mean, they were just wearing that thing out, man. And then I know Ricky and Roman, they went down to DC, and they wore them out down there on that thing, and basically. Not even really like necessarily throwing and casting it was how they were fishing. They were basically just swinging it, like casting out and just letting it fall real slow, because you could feel the vibration just when it falls. You know what I'm saying? And you just watch a rod tip and you'll see a little dink. He's got it. And they said, man, it was crazy. And then Ricky hooked a big blue cat and lost the lure. So the sad part is I really only had 2. All the ones that I got from you, I gave back to other people for them to try. You know what I mean? So, But yeah, I mean, I had a good time with them. And I couldn't believe the snakeheads just ate them like that,
Yeah. Well, I think the next one that we're going to show is a lot of people love the storm lures, the swim baits with the hook already attached.
Now, this is brand new, right?
This is brand new. I have pictures that I'm going to post this weekend. I've given some to some friends of mine to try out. Haven't been down here snakehead fishing yet with it, but bass, crappie.
There's no doubt snakeheads will eat that.
They're destroying that right there. That is my new underspin with a 3.8 inch custom bait that I have made for it. I can do an 1/8 ounce up to 5/8 of an ounce, and that there has the Gamakatsu hook in it.
The thing I like about the bait and your chatter baits too
Like
is
that
the
underspin.
eyes.
That is nice.
The underspin too, but
Yeah,
the realistic eye.
Oh yeah, that's a great jig head. Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, it's a great hook too. Can't go wrong with Gamakatsu.
And I think that bait wouldn't just be good on bass. I would actually think that bait would be great on rockfish. I would think that bait would be great on the drum when they get in here.
Yeah, no reason why it wouldn't be.
The croaker would hit that, you know what I mean? Flounder would hit that down Ocean City for sure, man. I mean, there's a lot of diversity you can do with that bait right there. And for those of you that don't know, the Bassmasters Classic was won on an underspin. So.
Yeah. And how many colors do you have in
Not
in
the
this
most recent
underspin?
one.
I will have 6 colors.
6 colors, okay.
And that, yep. That there, I have a pond in my backyard. I don't have any snakeheads in it, but I do have some nice crappie, and I've had crappie inhale that. And like I said, this weekend I'll be posting my pictures once I get that stuff up on my website, and they'll be available to stores. I know I stopped into Denton Rod and Tackle before I come down here, and John's already placed an order for those. I'm sure when I leave here, Eddie's going to want some as well.
Absolutely.
Are they cheaper by the dozen?
Absolutely.
I'm gonna find some room for him, man. My wall is chock full of your stuff right now.
That's what happens at the Snakehead headquarters.
But man, they're fantastic looking baits. I can't wait to have them in here. So I think that's everything you got.
I got a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
You know, like when you watch TV and the models are wearing clothes and stuff, and at the end of the show they always keep the clothes. Now I've modeled all these for you. I'm just asking.
Well, there's
Gary
one,
the hand model.
These hands.
There's one bait up there that we have not shown yet. That the inline weedless spinner.
Now those are here at the store.
That's what I was asking about just a minute ago because I didn't think we had seen that yet.
So that right there is.
Get the spinner over. There we go.
It's an inline spinner bait with a weedless setup. You could put a frog on that. That's totally new to me as well.
I love the hammered blade.
I have the big inline spinners that I've been selling for several months, but that is the small style. Everybody wants to go weedless. Now, I am not going to make them with a treble hook on the back of them just because that there, I think, is going to be so much more versatile.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It is, and the lead on the bottom to hold it from spinning.
Yep. Yes.
That's a great thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the weighted hooks make a big difference for those.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, you guys are just putting so much thought in this stuff. It's just so awesome. You know, it really, really is.
Yeah, now my big inline spinner, I've been throwing it in my pond. That's where I test a lot of my stuff, and I haven't had an issue slow rolling those with spinning, but in the current, I've had a couple of people come to me and say, hey, in the current, it does spin a little bit. So everything's being switched up to having the weight on the bottom of it.
You know what I've been thinking about these hooks, and again, I'm not a lure builder, but I'm looking at the lure and I'm just thinking, if you're having a problem with spinning, maybe instead of like such a long stretch, maybe like I don't want to say it almost like a flat arrow kind of against it, you know what I mean? And then it would maybe stay more. Am I making sense?
No.
See how okay,
No, you're not.
Okay, see how this right here is just
it's going to be down. But yeah.
see how this here is like all around. If
Right.
this was skinny in the front, then wider back here. See what I'm saying?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
See what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Like a boat.
Yeah, kind of. But
Yeah, like a fin.
and if it was
Yeah.
flatter, maybe it wouldn't be able to pull so
Right.
much, or flip. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
I
I've been
see
thinking
what you're saying.
about that.
If it cuts through that water like that, it'll help stabilize
Right.
it, so it makes it a little bit. It just won't roll like
like
you're
if it was
saying.
more like this, you know what
Yeah,
I
I see.
mean?
Yeah, just like the
like
front
flat,
of a boat.
you know?
Now, I know
That might solve that problem.
I've had
that's
some
all.
guys also that have the ones that does not have the weight on it. If you take a couple of the split shot
Yeah,
sinkers
it makes a big difference.
and
You got to.
stick on it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it
Now,
works great.
you also have these available with a prop on the front as well as a spinner, don't you? Isn't that the same one?
No, that's
that's the-
different.
yeah, that's
the different. That's
right. That one
that's-
doesn't swivel.
that's the long arm spinner and the
Right,
long
right,
arm
right.
prop.
That's right.
Yep.
So, yeah, that's a hoss. Look at that.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the
I don't think
one.
I can
Right
get
there.
this
That's
on
the
here.
one.
Not
No,
with
not
this-
going to here. Let me hold it up real quick, like I say, you see
Yeah,
the
I'll
whole
take-
bait.
Yeah,
Here,
that's a 5-inch.
give you comparison.
That's a 5-inch shad on the back of that with the skirt.
Yeah,
And
5-inch shad. That is a 5 alt
You have to back it up, Caz.
DMC.
There you
3-ounce lead.
go. Yeah.
That there, believe it or not, is 3/8 of an ounce total weight.
Yeah.
It has a number 4 gold hammered blade on it to give extra flash.
Man.
Yeah.
You don't see much of that anymore.
When that hammer hits the water, boy, it cuts the light everywhere.
That's the only blades that I use is hammered.
Yep. And we can't even get that on the bait camera all the way. It's crazy.
Again, there's that wide tail again, though. You know what I mean? This is. I hate to keep bringing that up, but that tail right there, and the way you've got that thing, you know.
Size of my thumb up against it.
Yeah, I mean,
just the action it creates.
I could just imagine it's got to have a 2-3 inch swing on it.
It's as big as the end of my thumb.
Very nice, very nice. So, what do you got next for us, Daryl? I mean, what's next in the pipeline of bait you're building?
I believe that's it. I think I got.
No, that's not what I'm asking. What's next in that brain of yours for the bait you're building?
I think I'm gonna hang tight right this minute with what I got.
You're pretty busy.
I know with the chatter baits and the splatter baits, I have a dozen colors plus 2 custom colors. You guys have 1 custom color that's only available to you guys. Anglers is the other store that has a custom color. I just brought in 2 more colors, so actually I have 14 colors that all stores will be able to get, and you can get off my website, and the 2 custom colors. So I believe that's enough colors.
No, you always need more colors.
But I tell you, the crawfish color, we started fooling with that late last year, and it's really worked well. So, that's the bullfrog.
The dark orange one, yep.
That there, I believe that is going to be a excellent color this year.
That is a great color.
Hard to get these in there.
There's that tail again.
Yep. And like you said, the depth of the ribs on that thing, man, is crazy.
Yeah.
It's just going to cut through that water.
It's like 3/16 of an inch thick.
Yeah.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to try. Not that I don't want a piece of plastic on it, but I'm going to try taking one of these inline spinners and, like I do with my MEPS, tipping my MEPS with a destroyer.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking I could do some serious damage with that thing with a big old destroyer on the back of it too. Oh God.
I'm thinking about coughing 4 or 5 times to freak you guys out. put all this stuff in a bag.
All of a sudden, Gary just falls off the chair.
Here. Gary's going to cough on all the baits, and Daryl's not going to take any of them back. Oh, man.
You guys don't know what I did when you weren't in the room, so. Well, I'll tell you what, Daryl. You're doing something. And it's really good to see small business making a dent here. You know what I mean?
I couldn't do it without all the guys fishing. Just like Thomas Temlin. I kind of lucked.
He's been a big hit for you. I got to tell you.
I lucked into him. I found him off your page, the snakeheadlife.com. Last year, he had lost his tackle bag or left it behind, and he come back, and I sent him a message on there and told him, said, shoot me a PM, give me your address, and I'll send you some lures to get you back up and running. And it went on for a little over a month, and he finally talked to me one-on-one, and I told him, I said, I'm serious. I want to help you out. Send me a message. So he gave me his address, and I sent him some lures, and 3 days later, I woke up, and the next morning, I had like 16 or 18 messages on my phone from where he had shared his pictures from where he's caught all these fish and stuff, and from there on out, I mean, he shares pictures like crazy.
So now I know what to do if the coughing doesn't work.
Right. Well,
so
I mean, like I said, the biggest thing is that we're all growing together and we're all working together. And, in my eyes, I feel like we have a pretty good niche and a pretty good family here. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And I think the best thing about the pages that we're doing is that we're helping people. We're not here to block you. We're not here to stop you from coming. We're not here to send you on a wild goose chase. We're here to make sure that you've got some food to take home with you if that's what you want. And especially right now with everything that's going on, I can't think of a better grocery store than the Blackwater National Wildlife Refuge, exactly honestly, right. So we're all doing our part to make sure that we can get through this together. And, I mean, we will. I know we will.
Yep. Gonna have to the governors gave you your space. Can't be 6 feet from the closest person to you.
So, and we're gonna try and keep things as normal as possible with this podcast while we're going along. We know there's a lot of stuff going on. We're not oblivious to that.
And we know you all got a lot of questions about a lot of things that we've got on schedule, and we're right there with you.
So it's For those of you who haven't heard yet, it's been all over Facebook, so you should know by now. But we have postponed the Snakehead Festival. We're not exactly sure what the date's going to be yet. We're trying to wait until everything kind of blows over until we figure out exactly when we're going to schedule this in. And hopefully it doesn't get better before it gets worse. That's all I'm going to say on that.
Yep, I'm with you on that. In the meantime, I know one thing. I'm catching every fish I can, and, without hurting anything, and I'm going to make sure I got my belly full.
That's exactly right. So we're gonna keep tabs on everything that's going on. Hopefully it gets better real soon without having to get real drastic with the actions the state's taken. And as soon as things start getting better, we'll get the Snakehead Festival new date determined. Notify all of our vendors, everybody that wanted to come. And then we'll start talking about the tournaments as well as we get closer.
And I did want to take a minute before I forget about that. Yesterday we had some visitors here in town, Gary, from North Bay up the bay, and
very nice people.
Had a great time.
And we want
good folks.
We want the public to know if you're not familiar with what North Bay is, please check them out on Facebook. They bring thousands of kids to their facility a year. It's all about education.
They said 10,000 kids.
I think that was the number, but I'm not sure, so I didn't want to throw that out there. I figured thousands was good. They're very involved with the public school system, getting kids there for learning opportunities and things like that. And we're looking forward to a relationship with them, helping them put into place some. They want to teach the kids how to collect how to collect data. We're going to do some gut checking and some things like that in the Upper Bay. We're going to start getting some people involved up there on the outside, because we need some help. So thanks for coming out yesterday, all you folks from North Bay. We had a great time. It was awesome watching you guys catch your first snakeheads and big bluegills and big bass, and that was a lot of fun. And Gary, I thank you for opening up your place so we had an opportunity. You know what I mean?
So, any one more, guys?
Nah, no more one mores. I think this was a pretty successful podcast this week. I had a lot of fun. I hope everybody else did. We're 50 minutes into it, so
yeah, we're right there.
Yeah, just one last thing. I'll just say, with this coronavirus,
Gary, you got a one more?
I got one more.
Oh yeah, baby.
I missed a week, so I get one more.
You can have two more.
But with the coronavirus, it's hard to understand what's going on. But if it wasn't serious, the government wouldn't be doing what they're doing. And sometimes I think it's overboard, but apparently there's a reasoning behind it. It's not, they're not trying to screw everybody's economics up because it's messing theirs up too.
And
just, just be careful. And there's one thing good about fishing. You can get off to yourself.
That's right.
And remember, if you got a little, give a little. And if you need a little, come here and I'll let you take a little. You know what I mean?
If you need to practice your social distancing, fishing works great for that.
It does. That does.
And if you want to go snakehead fishing, I've got a 14-foot boat. So that's right. You can get one in, I'll get in the other, and we'll go.
And one thing I want to add too, with the coronavirus, with everything seems like shutting down and stuff like that, if they take the next step further and say, hey, all stores are closing down, just remember you can get all your baits online at addictionbaits.com.
Absolutely.
Good, buddy. Remember,
as long as the post office is still shipping, I'll be available.
And remember, check on your neighbors, handicapped, seniors, anybody
especially
like that.
Seniors.
And if you've got something extra, give it away, man. I watch these people in Walmart just literally loading cart after cart after cart of stuff, and I'm watching seniors walk around in there like just blindsided, like they don't know what to do, man. So
they've set up a special